Good morning. How are you today? Well, I'm back on the trail again. I planned to be on the trail yesterday, but you know, court, the men in black dresses got in the way of my schedule, and I agreed to do MSNBC, so I ran some missions in between, and I thought of walking the trails, which are close to where I was, but I thought I had to be presentable, and I didn't have jackets or anything to change into, so I missed the trail until last night when it was dark out, and it was nice. It was very pleasant. So what's in the news? Yesterday, I didn't feel comfortable talking about the deal between Republicans and Democrats on what to do about building back America, our infrastructure bill. And it's really bizarre what we're talking about. On the one hand, we're making a deal with a group that consists of 5 Republicans when we need 10 to pass any bill, and we need all the Democrats as well. And this bill discounts the original infrastructure bill that Biden wanted to have. And how so? Well, it's $1 trillion instead of the original 2.2 or 1.9 trillion. And if I'm right, it takes $370 billion from the first bill we passed under the budget resolution, which was to help the people. And we're going to take that money and put it in this to get to a somewhat artificial number of more than $1 trillion. And no one is telling us how we're going to pay for this. And I think that means that we're going to pay for that bill with taxes on gas and diesel. So I'm not happy with it. I don't know that we get more Republicans. I'm certain we lose Democrats. So I think it fails. It's a prediction. I don't know. Now, what about all the other things that the Democrats were going to do in the infrastructure bill? Well, let's look at that. They're going to have a separate bill that's going to require 50 Democratic senators and the vice president to pass another of our budget reconciliation bills, because that only requires 50 votes. And they think that's going to, when put together with the bill agreed to with the Republicans, then we will have pasted together a deal. It's bizarre. I don't see how it can work. And to announce we have a deal to say that in some small way you're bipartisan when in fact you're not. And Sinema, the Democrat, was very excited about this, and you may have seen her, and I didn't understand the dress, so I'm sorry, but she was very energetic and very excited about it, and I think people are excited about it for no good reason. And why do I say that? 2. Number 1, McConnell said, and I hate to say this, he's pretty close to my agreement. He says, on the one hand, you're telling us we have a bipartisan bill, but that bipartisan bill won't pass unless you let us do this larger bill, which is the rest of our infrastructure bill. Save me. And you don't have to rely on the Republicans for this point. Last night, I thought Pelosi was fit to be tied, and she came out and she said, look, if you think you're going to pass this, quote, bipartisan bill without also passing the other bill, forget it. It's a non-starter. So I think it's theatrics that should teach Democrats they should just be straight. If you can't do it with the Republicans, don't. Do it yourself. Be responsible. And every time you try to have a, quote, bipartisan bill, you suggest that these guys are sincere about working with you. What happened to the $400,000 and up taxing of those people to underwrite this proposal? Where's that? DOA? If the Republicans don't want us to tax the people, they gave away all this funds irresponsibly and made them not pay taxes at all in many cases, then we should fold and we should impose what's the equivalent of a regressive tax, they call them fees, on gas and diesel. And I'm on a trail, and this is rural. This falls hardest among those people, maybe not me, but hardest among those people who live in places like this, who drive trucks, who work on farms, who travel great distances because they want to live rural, and many of them commute to Washington, D.C. and other points in Maryland to make a living. And they've had to make adjustments because of the pandemic, but that's their situation. We need people to talk straight. A million years ago, I got a master's in information science. And basically, the time I spent getting that master's taught me only really one thing that I knew already, which is plan ahead, think ahead. So there's an expression, GIGO, which is the information you get. Garbage in, garbage out. So if you're going to start with an artificial way of approaching a problem, and you're going to start with bad facts, you're going to end up with bad results. Not complicated, and that's where we are. We're spending so much time posturing for the public instead of just doing the right thing and letting people witness us do that. I've had cases that have been in the press from time to time, and I had a couple of civil cases in which people felt strongly enough that what we were doing in court wasn't agreeable to them or right. And, some people wrote, well, the court's not going to do this or do that or the other thing. And then when we prevailed in court, because the law was there, I didn't change the law, I didn't manufacture the facts, but we won. And then everybody goes, oh, how could that have happened? It happened because the facts in the law brought you to that point. That's the kind of dialogue we need. That's the kind of critical thinking we need in our public square. We have a whole party that is interested in disinformation and lying and deceptions and suppressing the vote and protecting criminals and not doing the right thing. And the Democrats want to do the right thing, but they don't call them out. I repeatedly say, you can't win the argument you don't make. Make the argument. Give it a chance. Give it breathing room. Because if you do, then 75% of the Republicans aren't going to think that Trump won the election. And how does that happen? That happens because we're passive. That happens because we don't fight. We don't argue. So, maybe I got too much rest last night. So, nice talking to you. Have a good day. Hope you get out. It's really gorgeous today. Bye-bye.